Aries. Aries symbol conversations, musings, or studies are likely to be rewarding and inspiring today, dear Aries. However, a Venus-Pluto transit later today can bring some complicated feelings or interactions into the mix. Even so, what emerges now can be a clue to your fears. If relationship dynamics seem out of balance, resolve to make adjustments so that you and a significant someone feel empowered by your connection. Try your best to replace fear with love to heal yourself and strengthen your relationships. Consider, too, that worries about your work, reputation, or position may be unfounded or exaggerated. If they're not, it's time to get to work on possible solutions, but take things one step at a time. Watch for a tendency to go to extremes, as it can interfere with healthy interactions. Suspicious feelings are possible, but these, too, can be coming from a place of fear. Taurus. Taurus symbol. While you might enjoy helpful, friendly conversations today, dear Taurus, it's best to watch for obsessive behavior. Later today, a Venus-Pluto square inclines you to dwell on negative emotions or complex topics. There can be a lot going on under the surface of things, and it's all too tempting to express ourselves indirectly. It can be frustrating at best and destructive at worst, but also relatively transient and manageable. Something stirs or triggers an old hurt or resentment. Rather than letting it rule your behavior, examine what's emerging now and aim to put it behind you. You can learn a lot from the messy feelings that might arise now. Even so, exploring intense emotions is good, but dwelling on something that you can't, or don't intend to, change won't do you any good. Letting go of the need to get to the truth of a matter may be for the best today. Gemini. Gemini symbol today can bring an outstanding teaching, or learning, moment, dear Gemini. Others appreciate you for your unique insight. Even so, today's energies are loaded or tense at times. A Venus-Pluto aspect can trigger suspicion or vulnerabilities. For example, there can be an intense attraction or impulses that come from a deep place. Alternatively, reminders of a difficult time and complicated feelings can emerge. Relationships may not be straightforward now, and you could sense a hidden agenda or emotional traps in some of your interactions. Be careful that you're not holding onto something only because you fear to let go. Unhealthy attachments may become clear today. While this can feel a little uncomfortable, it also brings things into the light so that you can manage them rather than allow them to control you. Still, it's best to avoid manipulative tactics and those using them. Cancer. Cancer symbol. Conversations about emotional or personal matters can be most rewarding today, dear Cancer. Harmonizing with family or solving a practical problem can be in a positive focus. Nevertheless, there can be some tensions today, and you could find that someone's resisting or standing in your way. With a Venus-Pluto square later today, you might sense that someone is either holding back or trying to control or direct you. Those close to you can be very touchy and sensitive, and it can be easy for others to push your buttons. This kind of energy can sometimes bring out our tendency to repeat behaviors that don't serve us well. Aim to identify these to change things up and break out of old patterns of relating that haven't been successful in the past. It's best to work with the energy to learn more about problem areas. Leo. There can be distinctly supportive teaching or learning moments today, dear Leo. Sharing ideas and developing rich new ideas can be rewarding. You want to put your talents and skills to beneficial use. Even so, a Venus-Pluto square later today is tricky, producing tension that could interfere in your relationships and communications. It's all too easy for someone or something to trigger vulnerable areas of your psyche. Worries about your work or health can interfere with your enjoyment of simple connections, personal interests, and light conversations. With this transit, even the simplest of interactions can seem loaded. If you observe this happening, try to detach yourself from the situation and move back into it after you've gained some perspective. Virgo. You're in solid shape for drawing up marketing plans or budgets, dear Virgo, and your mind is fertile and resourceful now. Even so, you can experience some frustration today over personal finances, values, and ideas that seem to conflict with those of someone in your life or that stimulate fears. Keep your eye out for unhealthy attachments and interactions. There can be a possessive streak to manage, and if so, it's more likely a symptom of something that runs deeper than the matter at hand. Fear of not having control over your life can lead you to hold on to things, people, and situations. Consciously allowing yourself to let go, even a little, can be helpful now. Money worries may or may not be sound, but if they don't motivate you to handle matters, then you're wasting your energy. Libra. You're in good shape for pursuing a personal interest, dear Libra. You're getting your message across quite well and personably, or the pieces of a puzzle might come together on a mental level. However, your planetary ruler, Venus, forms a square to Pluto later today, and energy is tricky, especially for relationships. This aspect can stir up insecurities and fears or some conflict in your domestic life. If you feel that people are trying to manipulate you or that you need to resort to manipulation to get your way, examine things a little more closely. Remind yourself to work on your part of the problem and that you can't control others. Or, make it clear that you need to be dealt with directly if others try to get your attention through tricky means. It's important to avoid allowing worry or fear of loss of power to spoil your mood. Family or home life may very well need extra attention. However, also consider that you may be better off detaching just a little so that you can relax. Energies today might reveal where you may be holding onto something too tightly. Scorpio. Today, you're in particularly good shape for work behind the scenes, research, or conversations about private matters that feel natural and lead to healing, dear Scorpio. A comfortable pace is particularly appealing. Even so, a Venus-Pluto square later today can require sensitive handling. Some feelings of discontent can lead to manipulative or disruptive behavior if you're not careful. A tendency to dwell on the past can interfere with healthy interactions in the present. There can be difficulties getting your way and seeing eye to eye with someone. Controlling a conversation or persuading someone to believe something can be temptations but won't lead to improvement. It's probably better to address a problematic area head-on rather than let it fester. Be kinder to yourself by moving on or choose a time that's not as loaded. Sagittarius. There is good energy for getting places in your conversations with others, dear Sagittarius. However, especially as the day advances, today's influences can be complicated. Issues surrounding values, money, or questions of ownership and boundaries can produce some tension. There can be some indirect or roundabout activity that rubs you the wrong way. On an emotional level, the day can be on the heavy side. If you feel out of the loop, manipulating or controlling to get back in the game can seem appealing but won't work in your favor. You're much better off if you take the high road. Today's Venus-Pluto square can point to a situation that triggers a helpless feeling, but don't allow fear or resentment to drive your behavior. Positively, it's likely you'll learn something valuable about yourself through your reactions. Capricorn. If you can manage spending time free of interference so that you can do your own thing, you'll likely benefit today, dear Capricorn. However, a Venus-Pluto aspect later today brings possible tension and competition. It's most likely felt with those in authority or in the business world, although personal interactions can also be on the stressful side, perhaps even loaded. For best results, keep all of your dealings above board and avoid the traps of game playing. While you can't control how others approach situations, you can control how you respond, and sometimes the best response is no response at all. Competition can sometimes motivate you to improve your game, but today, you are inclined to feel put off by it. It's more likely to rub you the wrong way. Do your part by avoiding attempts to stage direct things. In fact, behaviors now can very well sully your reputation, and it's best to keep things status quo for now. Aquarius. There is good energy for you to rearrange and redesign your projects, plans, or personal environment today, dear Aquarius. However, a Venus-Pluto square later today is complicated, and it tends to stimulate any tendencies toward emotional extremes. It's all too easy to overreact to little problems and minor events, for example, but these are likely symptoms of bigger issues. For best results, be willing to face these issues with self-honesty. It can be challenging to remain impartial or tone things down even so. A feeling that you can't quite let go of the past can hamper your desire for new experiences and to move your life forward. Take things slowly. Today's energies are not breezy, but they're manageable. Plus, they can help reveal problem areas. Pisces. You're in fine shape for thinking up long-term goals or reconsidering ways to achieve current ones today, dear Pisces. You can do some good thinking about your projects. It can be a challenge to keep a healthy distance from problem areas today, however. With a Venus-Pluto square later today, you're not on the same wavelength with someone, or you receive mixed signals. Watch for the tendency to read a little too much into what's happening around you. People probably do have hidden agendas, but it's best not to focus too intensely on the negative. This aspect tends to stir up doubts and inner resentments or rumblings. Internal confusion about a relationship's dynamics or depth can be the root of troubles now. If relatively simple problems work you up far more than expected, seek reasons rather than allow fears and frustrations to rule your mood.